Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. And today we are diving into the world of AI image generation.
Oh yeah, it's really exciting stuff.
It is, yeah. And, I feel like every day there's a new program popping up, a new tool being released. So we're going to try to cut through the noise a little bit.
Right.
We found this really great review that breaks down what they're calling the top 6 AI image generators of 2025.
Okay.
So hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a really good sense of what's out there and what each program kind of specializes in.
Yeah, awesome.
So before we jump into these, specific programs, could you just give us a little bit of a background on what AI image generation is and why it's become such a big deal lately?
Absolutely.
Right.
So essentially, it uses these complex algorithms to create images based on a text prompt that you give it. So you're basically describing what you want to see, and the AI goes and makes...
It's like magic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's like having this incredibly fast and imaginative digital artist that just does whatever you ask it to do.
And, it sounds fun and people are playing around with it, but it's not just a toy, right?
No, not at all.
I've seen articles about how it's being used by, artists and designers and all sorts of creative professionals.
Yeah, definitely. It's really changing the game for anyone who works with visuals, so it's definitely something to pay attention to.
Okay, so let's meet the players then.
Right.
This review called it the Big Six, and I like that.
Yeah.
So we'll go through these one by one, and the first one on the list here is DALL 3, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I keep seeing these images online that look like photographs, but they're AI generated, and I think a lot of those are coming from DALL 3.
Yeah, DALL 3 is known for making these hyper-realistic images. So yeah, they're almost impossible to distinguish from photographs. So it's kind of like having a camera that can capture anything that you can dream up.
And the detail is really amazing, I've noticed, especially like the textures and the lighting.
Yeah.
It gets that right.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing.
So I can only imagine how this would be used for like advertising and maybe even like photojournalism. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely lots of possibilities there.
So, okay, next on the list, we have MidJourney. And this one seems to be all about, kind of pushing artistic boundaries.
Yeah, MidJourney is really great for experimenting with different artistic styles. So, like if you wanted to create a picture of a cat but have it be in the style of Van Gogh.
Oh, wow.
MidJourney can do that.
That's very specific.
Yeah. And you can even, take it a step further and be like, okay, I want that Van Gogh cat, but put it in like a cyberpunk cityscape with neon lights, and MidJourney can actually pull that off.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
So, you can essentially have access to, endless artistic possibilities without needing years of training.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, well, speaking of possibilities, the next one on the list is Stable Diffusion. And this is one that I find really interesting because it's open source, right? So what does that mean exactly for someone using it compared to like, DALL 3, for example?
Yeah, so that's a key difference. Because it's open source, it means that developers and users can actually go in and modify and adapt the code to their needs. So it's led to this really vibrant community of people who are creating these custom models and sharing them.
Oh, cool.
So you're not limited to just the program's default settings. You can find models for, pretty much any style or effect that you can imagine, and you can even contribute your own.
So it's kind of like this ever-evolving toolbox.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right, well, let's move on. Then we have Adobe Firefly. And, given Adobe's history, I imagine that this one is geared more towards professionals.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Adobe Firefly is all about integrating AI image generation into those existing Adobe workflows that people already use. So,
Right.
Imagine that you're working on a project in Photoshop and you need like a specific texture or a background element. Instead of, having to search through stock photos or create it from scratch, you can just use Firefly to generate exactly what you need right there within Photoshop.
So it's kind of like having a new superpower added right to the tool you already use.
Yeah, exactly. It's really convenient.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Runway ML.
Yeah.
This one, from what I've read, seems to be really shaking things up in the video world.
Yeah, Runway ML is doing some really interesting stuff with AI-powered video generation and editing. So it's allowing filmmakers and video editors to create these really complex visual effects that, in the past would have taken forever or cost a ton of money.
Wow.
You can use it to generate realistic backgrounds for your film or create all these crazy special effects and things like that.
So this is like a glimpse into the future of movie making.
It really is, yeah. And what's cool is that these tools are becoming more accessible, so even independent filmmakers can achieve those in those Hollywood level effects now.
That's really cool. And then last but not least, we have Leonardo AI.
Yes.
So what makes this one stand out from the crowd?
So Leonardo is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of AI image generators.
Right.
It's super versatile. It's got all these different features that cater to a bunch of creative needs. So it's great for, generating assets for game development or creating illustrations for marketing materials or even making like high quality concept art. So
Okay.
it's a good option for people who need one tool that can kind of do it all.
So, we've gone through all these programs, but I'm curious to hear about some specific examples. We've covered a lot of ground here, and it seems like these 6 programs are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI image generation. And it's exciting to see how they're being used in all these different fields.
Yeah, it really is a revolutionary time for creative fields. I mean, these tools are letting people and teams bring their ideas to life in ways that we could have never imagined just a few years ago. And, as this technology keeps getting better, we can expect even more crazy innovations in the years to come.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it makes you wonder, as these tools become even more sophisticated, what kind of ethical questions are we going to have to grapple with?
Mm.
Things like copyright and authenticity.
Right.
How do we ensure that these tools are being used responsibly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's one that we're going to have to be thinking about more and more as this technology becomes more powerful.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for joining me today for this deep dive into AI image generation.
It's been a pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, keep exploring these tools, keep experimenting. I think we've only just scratched the surface of what's possible.
Definitely.
And who knows what the future holds. But I have a feeling it's going to be pretty amazing.
I think so too.
All right, everyone. Until next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.